Hi, everybody, and welcome to this week's live onboarding and device setup. I'm Tim from Ledger, and today I'm going to be showing you how to set up the Nano S Plus from start to finish. So this is going to be a full unboxing and device setup. However, full disclosure, this Nano S Plus, you see there's no plastic on it. If you've been to my other onboardings, you'll know that I give this same speech every week or whatever. But basically, instead of opening up a new device every week, since these are reusable, we like to reset them and then reuse them to avoid just opening up a whole bunch of nanos and having a million nanos laying around. Without further ado, I will go ahead and get started. So with this one, we did recreate the box. So everything is in here in its normal state that you would see when you do unbox your own if you're following along at home. The only difference is, let me go ahead and open it up real quick. I'll pull off this here. Let me change the view real quick. Okay, cool. All right, so I took off the outer cover, the paper cover. I'm gonna go ahead and set that off to the side, out of the way, over here. And then go ahead and unbox this right there. So you'll see you have the Nano here, the device, and then you also have this secret recovery sheet, this orange envelope. If you pull it out, you'll notice that this envelope is empty, and we are actually all out of the Nano S Plus recovery sheets for now. We have more on order, but for now we're kind of all out of these. So today, I'm going to borrow one of the extra Nano X recovery sheets that we have laying around. And so, so I will be writing down the words that we're going to be generating here pretty soon on this recovery sheet, which will look a little bit different than this one, but it's really it's the same thing. It's the same medium. It just looks a little bit different, but the whole point is just to write down your words offline on a piece of paper rather than storing them anywhere else. I hope that kind of clarifies everything, but let's go ahead and continue on with this. Okay, so I'm gonna put the recovery sheet down right here that we're gonna be using. I'm gonna take this empty orange envelope that would have recovery sheets in it. I'm gonna put that to the side. Okay, I'm gonna take out the Nano S Plus, the actual device right here, and I'm gonna set that down right there. All right, and then we'll take this piece out, this mold, and then we got this pink envelope here. Inside this one, we have some stickers. We've got some like some do's and don'ts and how to care for your device and how to get started. In this packet right here, this one will tell you pretty much how to set it up. It's got some good correspondence in there. If you're just looking to learn a little bit more about your device, you can open up this pink envelope and read through. But I'm going to be explaining everything to you in excruciating detail throughout this video, so we're not going to need this. So I'm going to set that aside for now. And then underneath the pink envelope, we've got this black envelope right here, this black box. And inside here, we've got a cable. Go ahead and pop that open. We got so we've got a keychain. If I can get it out. We got a little keychain for the Nano S Plus, and then we also have a cable, a USB cable for it. We're going to shove that all back in there because we don't need either of those either. Back in. Okay, put that to the side. And then the box itself, I will go ahead and set to the side because we no longer need any of that. Okay, great. So now you see we have a recovery sheet and we have a Nano S Plus sitting here. All right. Let me see. It looks like actually the screen may be frozen. Let me go ahead and exit out of this real quick. Okay, cool. Yeah, it looks like the screen is definitely frozen right there. Let me so I'm not gonna be able to show you Ledger live from this view. Bear with me for 1 second. Gonna add a new sorry, I'm just messing with the settings real quick, adding a new thing. So this will only take a minute. I'm getting definitely better at it. There it is. Okay. All right, we're gonna go to display capture. Okay. Okay. Make that a little bit smaller. There we go. A little glimpse behind the scenes of how I do this real quick. Let me just set this up nicely. That looks pretty good right there. What you guys think? That looks pretty good. All right, cool. Sweet. All right, that should be good. All right. So back on track. So now you see my Ledger Live, and I actually intentionally left my Ledger Live set up with all of my same accounts that I use for work. So if you were in the live stream with us on Wednesday, then you'll probably notice that like some of these, you'll probably recognize these accounts that I was using in the live stream. So I'm going to go ahead and now go up here to the settings. So one cool thing about Ledger Live is that all these accounts right here are tied to my other Nano that I'm using, but without having that Nano plugged in, I can't access these accounts. So I wouldn't be able to access these accounts with this Nano even after I set it up. And I can also just re-add these accounts back in with the Nano. So I'm going to go ahead and just totally reset Ledger Live. I do this every week before before I do these onboardings off camera. So this week I wanted to kind of just do it on camera, just to add a little bit of an extra step and showing you how I prepare for these things, and to show the versatility of Ledger Live, and to kind of give a little bit more info on what's happening behind the scenes, which we'll definitely get into. So I'm going to reset the entire application. And this basically is going to reset it back to factory as if I just downloaded it and installed it for the very first time. So as you can see, this is what you'll see when you open up Ledger Live for the first time after you download it. Okay, cool. So we'll just leave that there for a minute. And now I'll go into this Nano. Let's go ahead and power it on. All right, so it opens up to the main screen. Welcome to Nano S Plus. Press the right button, which is going to be this button right here. You have the left and the right button. Now, if you are following along at home, and if you do have a Nano X or a Nano S or any other device other than the S Plus, the setup procedure that we're about to go through is exactly the same as any of the other devices. The only difference is going to be like the actual shape of the device is slightly different. Not much different, but slightly different. The button layout may be different. On the Nano X, you have your buttons here and here, whereas on your Nano S Plus and Nano S, your buttons are on the top row right here. But they all work pretty much exactly the same. So no matter what device you're using at home, you can follow along with this, and you can get your own device set up. All right, cool. So we're going to press the right button, which will make it scroll to the right. And of course, the left button scrolls back to the left. And then to make a selection, you press both buttons at the same time. So, and quick press. You don't want to hold them down. So tap both buttons, and then it reiterates. Pressing both buttons allows you to select and confirm. Now it's telling you to go and download Ledger Live, the application, which is required to set up a Nano device. Not to set up a Nano device, but to use a Nano device. We'll get into more details on that here in a few minutes. But basically, you go to ledger.com/start, and it'll let you install Ledger Live. And once you open it up, this is what you'll see in your screen. So we'll go to the next, and then you can follow the instructions in Ledger Live to set up your Nano. Let me show you what I'm talking about. So we're going to go to here, get started, and then we have a Nano S Plus, so we would choose this. And so right here, you have two options. You have first time using or already have a recovery phrase. So we can click on first time using your Nano S Plus right here, and this will take us through a pretty in-depth tutorial on how to set it up and what to do, some best practices to follow. But we're actually going to hold off right here in Ledger Live. Last week, I went through all that, but this week I want to focus on just kind of explaining things in my own words, and then we're going to skip this step. So let's focus back here on the Nano. It's telling us to follow the instructions in Ledger Live to set up your Nano, which is a good idea to do, for sure, but we're going to do it kind of on our own today. All right, so then now you have two different options. Oh, also, real quick before I go any further, a huge thank you to Ty, who was in the chat modding for us. So if you did come here just to ask questions and you want some technical support, that's definitely available. We have Ty here helping out. So huge shout out, huge thanks to Ty, and go ahead and drop your questions. Otherwise, if you're here just to watch the setup, then let's rock and roll. Okay, so we've got set up as a new device or restore from recovery phrase. Every single Nano will give you these two options. So if you have already set up a Nano, and you already have a recovery phrase and you're trying to create maybe a backup of your other nano, like or you lost your other nano or it broke and you're trying to just regain access to your accounts, you would choose this option to restore from recovery phrase, and it would let you import your words into this nano, and then it would become a clone of your original nano. It'd be the exact same, basically exact same device. However, today we are setting up a new device. We want to generate our own 24-word recovery phrase, and we want to do it. Yeah, that's it. We want to generate our own 24-word recovery phrase. So we're going to double tap on this. So by pressing both buttons simultaneously, real quick. All right. So the first step is to choose a pin, 4 to 8 digits in length. Go ahead and accept that. So now your pin can be, like it said, between 4 and 8 digits in length. Obviously, the longer it is, the more secure your pin is going to be. But keep in mind that your pin is only used to unlock this specific device. For instance, you could set up another device, set up a different pin on that device, and then import the exact same recovery phrase. And now each device will be able to access the exact same accounts, crypto accounts, but they'll have a different pin to unlock them. So this is kind of an important thing to bring up, because a lot of people, they think that maybe their pin that they set up with their ledger is somehow tied to their overall crypto accounts. But that's not the case. Your pin only unlocks your device. It does not necessarily grant access to your crypto accounts. And it's an important distinction, because it's really important to remember that the only thing that does grant access to your crypto accounts is your recovery phrase. Now, with this recovery phrase that we're about to generate, anybody can access your accounts if they get this recovery phrase. They don't need your PIN. They only need your recovery phrase. So while the PIN is important to keep your device locked and secure in the event that it's stolen, really the true information that is being protected is the recovery phrase. So I just wanted to throw that out there and make sure that that's crystal clear. Okay, so we're going to set up a PIN on this. We're going to make it 1, 1, 1, 1. Nice and easy. Just in case the device falls asleep and I have to get back into it, I don't have to remember a long, complex PIN for the demonstration purposes. But for your own device, I do recommend having a more complicated PIN, a more complex PIN that would be harder to guess. So basically, yeah, so we did 1111. At this point, you see it defaults onto the little chat. I don't know if you can see the little underlined, it's kind of blurry, but it's underneath the little check mark right there. So we can select that and accept that 4-digit PIN, or we can put up to 8 digits in length. So we're going to go ahead and just accept that though. And then now watch this other thing. So see, it started on 0 right there. I'm going to go to 1. I put in the 1 and it jumped to the 6, the little underline. Again, I'm not sure if you can see that. Yeah, maybe you can. Then I have to go back to the 1 to confirm the next digit, and then it jumped to the 4. Back to the 1, jump to the 6 again. Back to the 1, and jump to the check mark. So this is actually a security feature of the Nano. If your Nano were to get stolen, if someone were to like see it like laying on your desk or something and swipe it, and then they were to try to plug it in and try to guess your PIN, your Nano is going to actually, that was kind of a wrong thought right there, but I'm going to continue on with that, and then I'll go back to that. So your Nano has a security feature where it will factory reset if the wrong PIN is entered 3 times into it, which is what I was talking about before. But since I got a little off track, so the little underline that you see is actually another security feature, where if somebody is sitting across the room from you and trying to count your button presses when you're entering your PIN, they wouldn't be able to do it because it randomly jumps. So you'll always have a different sequence of button clicks in order to get the correct number to input your PIN. Okay, cool. Enough about PINs. Let's move on to the recovery phrase. All right, cool. So your device will generate your 24 words. They are your recovery phrase. It is your only backup to your accounts if needed. Write it down on your recovery sheet in the correct order and press both buttons to continue. So we're going to do that. We're going to press both buttons to continue. But before I do, I'm going to do my normal spiel about recovery phrases, just to kind of reiterate kind of how important they are and why you need to keep them safe. So I already touched on it a little bit. I mentioned that this recovery sheet, you write down your words. If someone else were to get their hands on your recovery phrase at any point, then they would be able to import your recovery phrase into any wallet. It doesn't even have to be a ledger. It can be a software wallet such as MetaMask or Electrum for Bitcoin or whatever. And then they would be able to access the exact same accounts that we're about to create in Ledger Live. And that's because all of your accounts that you are going to create after you generate your recovery phrase are derived straight from that recovery phrase. Your recovery phrase is the master private key for all your accounts. It is the master backup for all your accounts. And so it would be like giving somebody the username, password, secret question and answer to all of your bank accounts all at once if someone were to get this recovery phrase. So make sure to keep it safe. Make sure don't save it on your computer at all. Like it may be tempting to take a photograph of it. I know that I'm not guilty, but I do that for all the time in my everyday life. If I want to remember something and I take a snapshot of it, take a photograph of it, save it in one of my folders on my phone, great. However, with your recovery phrase, that is the backup to all your crypto accounts. And so if your phone were to get hacked or if your data were to get leaked through your phone, and that image was found by anybody else, then they would be able to take that information and steal all your crypto right out from underneath you, even if you're using a ledger. At that point, it won't matter. So your ledger is only as secure as the security you impart on your recovery phrase itself. So that's why we say write it down on the sheet. And it's also part of the reason why I don't go through the setup in Ledger Live all the time, and why I sometimes in these live streams I will set up my device completely outside of Ledger Live, is because you can take this device and you can plug it into a wall outlet and you can generate your recovery phrase completely offline, never touching the internet, never even touching a computer that's connected to the internet, and you can get your recovery phrase. You can have it completely offline. And that's the whole idea, is to keep it offline. So ideally, you'd want to write down your recovery phrase on your sheet. You want to put that sheet somewhere safe, like in a safe or a lockbox, or somewhere where you're reasonably sure that no one else will be able to get to it. And that's really the only way to keep your crypto safe, is by keeping your recovery phrase safe. And from there, then you can trust your Nano to keep it offline. So your Nano is there as a signing device to let you interact with your crypto accounts without having to import your private key to do so. So your Nano will always keep your private keys, your recovery phrase, from being able to access the internet, and nothing will be able to breach into your hardware wallet to get that information, and it'll let you cryptographically sign transactions from the safety of your hardware wallet. So that's basically how this model works for hardware wallets. And so while it will keep you very safe if you follow those practices, you must remember to also do your own due diligence to keep your recovery phrase itself away from any prying eyes. And there are a lot of prying eyes out there. All right, cool. That's my spiel for recovery phrases. It's a little bit different every week. I hope I covered that in enough detail. If you do have any questions, go ahead and drop them in the chat. Yeah, looks like someone is asking a question, but maybe Ty will get to that. All right, cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and continue on with this. So we're gonna go ahead and press both buttons to continue, and we're gonna start generating our recovery phrase. Okay. I'm gonna go ahead and write these down while I go through. Now, these words that I'm about to write down, I am not going to or put any crypto on these accounts. I'm only going to, this is only for demonstration purposes. So I have no problem showing it to you guys in this live stream. But if you are setting up your own device, make sure, best practices, keep it away from your webcam, out of the view of your webcam. It's very unlikely that you have, a virus on your computer, or you have, malware on your computer that allows somebody to, have access to your webcam. And it's also pretty unlikely that there's, a person targeting your specific webcam, but you never know. And that's kind of the whole point, is that, while it is unlikely, even having your crypto in like a hot wallet, such as MetaMask, where the recovery phrase is stored in the browser data, it's not super unsecure. It's not as secure as a hardware wallet, obviously, and the likelihood that your data, that your recovery phrase will be stolen by a hacker is quite low, I would say, but it's still possible. And that's kind of the whole point is, if it's possible, then why take the chance? And that's where hardware security comes in, where as long as you follow these practices and you keep these words offline, it's really not possible for anyone to steal that data from you. All right, almost done. All right, cool. All right, so at this point, we have all 24 words written down in the correct order. We can scroll back to the left and make sure, verify them. But even if we do that, we're still going to have to manually verify each word anyway, just to make sure that they're written down correctly, just to make sure they're in the right order, just to make sure everything went well. Because in this step, if you write down the one word incorrectly or multiple words incorrectly, you could have a situation where you could be locked out of your funds in the future. Like, for instance, let's say write down these words and it's a little messy and I'm not able to really make out some of the words, but I'm able to get through this next step where I confirm my recovery phrase and I go in just because it's fresh in my head. But like 3 years from now, when I actually have to use this sheet to recover my recovery phrase, and suddenly I can't read my own writing, or some like coffee spilled on it, or like or something happened where I can't make out the words. Well, unless you're able to make out those words, you will not be able to access those accounts, if that were to happen. So make sure you write them neat and legibly as possible, and make sure that you keep them uncontaminated in any other way. All right, so we're gonna find. So right here, they make the operating system on the ledger makes it a little bit easier. It used to have to actually manually input the words, but now you can just scroll. It'll give you a few options, and you just find the right word. This one's magnet, so I'm going to go ahead and select that. Second word is vacant, so I scroll until I find vacant. There it is. Next one is aim. There it is. Unusual. There we go. And so you just kind of do that just to double check and verify that you got the right words. So I'm going to go ahead and speed through this. And funny, the next word is speed. Okay. All right, cool. So I put in all 24 words and I got this message right here. Your recovery phrase is set. Keep it in a secure place. If I made any mistakes, it would tell me I made a mistake. So yeah, no mistakes were made. So we're good to go. We have the correct words written down, the same words that are saved in the device memory. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll to the right. It's telling me not to lose or let these words get stolen or forgotten, because then the assets will be lost. So we're going to go ahead and observe that, definitely. never share it with anyone. Ledger will never ask you for it. That's really important. That's actually really, really important. Let me switch this real quick. So there's a lot of scam, and you guys probably already know. You're already listening. There's a ton of scammers, ton of scams, not just in the crypto space, but in all spaces. Our world is filled with scammers. And there's some industries, you know, like that are more mature, that have better systems in place to deal with these types of things. Like, for instance, the banking system is quite old and they have a lot of checks and balances. They have a lot of good ways to deal with it. Another system would be like our email system. Most people use Gmail or you know, Yahoo, whatever email you use. You look at your inbox. It's gotten really good at filtering out all the spam emails, and they go to your spam folder. You don't even have to look at them anymore. In crypto, not so much. You know, there's a lot of scams. There's a lot of people out there that there's not a lot of oversight. There's not a lot of authority that is stopping this from happening. And so, you know, naturally it's going to attract a lot of opportunists, a lot of scammers. So always make sure that if you're ever interacting with anybody via social media or even a support channel, if you're like talking to like a support agent through like some chat or something, if anybody ever asks you for your recovery phrase in any way, even like obscurely, like, oh, like even if they say like, oh, don't tell me your recovery phrase, but here, click on this link and follow these instructions, and you do that, and then in those instructions it asks you for your recovery phrase. If at any point ever you are told by another person or asked by another person to do something which results in you importing your recovery phrase into any application or into any chat box at all, that person is 100% trying to scam you out of your assets. There's no other reason to ask for that. There's no reason anybody ever needs that information other than to access your accounts, because that's what that information does, is it accesses your accounts. So if that ever happens, throw your red flag up and cease operations. And honestly, if you would like, you can definitely, even if you are not dealing with a Ledger situation, reach out to us at our support channel, support.ledger.com, explain the situation, explain your concerns, and we will tell you yes or no whether we think that person is trying to scam you or not. And we're very good at detecting scammers. So you're always welcome to reach out to us if you ever have any questions about that. But yeah, I'll kind of get off that soapbox right now. It's really difficult to help people who have lost funds in such a way, because it's terrible for the user because they lost funds. But two, it's really frustrating for us because we want to help. It's our job to help people with their issues, but in that, there's really nothing that we can do. There's really not much in most cases that anyone can do for that, because again, there's not a lot of regulatory assistance in that area. Like if your crypto gets stolen, it's a lot of times it's lost for good. Only in very specific niche cases can it ever be recovered. Which we're not going to get into in this video. It's a little outside the scope of this video, but just keep in mind, if anyone ever asks you for a recovery phrase, red flag up, don't do it. Don't give it to them. All right, cool. I'm going to go ahead and switch back here. All right. We're going to press both buttons to continue. It's going to process. And our device is ready. Let's go to the dashboard. Now we're on the dashboard. And you see that we have install app and we have control center, the two options here. These are just widgets that tell you how to do those things. By actually selecting them, it'll just say like, go and install an app in Ledger Live and go back to dashboard. This one, control center, it'll say, oh, hold both buttons to get to the control center and then back to dashboard. So to get to the control center, you just hold both buttons down. And then now you have your settings and you can lock your device, you can close the control center, and that's about it. So now I'm going to set this down. So now, if I were to have just set up this device for the first time and I was a normal user, I would now take this recovery phrase and store it somewhere safe, like in a safe or a lockbox or a safety deposit box or buried in a vault underground. Like honestly, whatever is makes most sense for you in your situation. It's going to look different for everybody depending on what part of the world you live in, what services are available, how secure you feel you need to be with your assets. Huge like a lot of variables here. So basically, do whatever you think is best, but make sure you keep it away from prying eyes. So I'm going to go ahead and put that to the side. All right, so let's go back to Ledger Live. We already have a recovery phrase. We just set that up. So let's go ahead and connect our Nano S Plus. Let's do the genuine check right here. So we have our device connected, unlocked with the PIN. That's very important. And we're going to check our Nano. So this is what's gonna this is what's called the genuine check. This is going to we're going to allow a secure connection with our Nano S Plus. We're going to allow Ledger Live to scan our device and make sure it's got the correct firmware installed. And it's got genuine firmware installed. And if this device has been tampered with in any way, if somehow somebody were to get some other operating system on this device that would try to harm users, this check right now will stop that from happening. It'll fail this check, and you won't be able to proceed. It'll say invalid firmware, you can't proceed, can't install Nano apps, can't create accounts, can't send any crypto to any accounts with this recovery phrase or with this Nano, and it'll be end of the road. And then at that point, it'll be reach out to customer support, us, and we will get you a new device if that's the case. However, I will say, I don't think I've ever actually seen that because it's incredibly difficult. It hasn't happened yet. It would be incredibly difficult for a malicious party to actually get fake firmware installed on these devices. So yeah, let's go ahead and check that. All right, we're going to allow the secure connection with Ledger, allow Ledger Manager, and it's all good. It's quick process. So we're going to go ahead and continue. And now we're in Ledger Live. So you see we have all these tabs here on the left. Portfolios, where you'll see like your main portfolio. We got this market tab right here that shows different types of cryptos, basically like by market cap. And with options to buy, swap, like buttons built in right here, to take you different places. We got the Discover tab, which is a really cool tab that's got all kinds of like safe apps that we've integrated into Ledger Live that kind of let you do like cool things out in Web3 that are outside of Ledger Live, but from the safety of Ledger Live without having to like venture out into the wild yonder. You can do it safely from here, and these are all vetted. So there's no scams that are in here. There's nothing that can harm you in here. So yeah, so there's all kinds of cool stuff. There's there's some swap platforms for decentralized swap aggregators right here, like Paraswap and 1inch. I believe that these are actually not available for people in the US, which obviously I'm in the US, so but they used to be, and I can say that they're pretty cool. So if you're not in the US, you can perform any swap from your Ethereum account, and EVM chains a lot of times are supported from these. So like if you're swapping from like USDT to ETH or something, you can do it from here in a decentralized way without doing any KYC or anything. Yeah, there's all sorts of cool apps. I don't want to get too off into the weeds here, but yeah, here's a Bitcoin dollar cost average that you can set up right here through Stacking Sats. View NFTs right here, although a lot of NFTs are now supported in Ledger Live, but this is another way to view them. Yeah, just a really cool section right here. Definitely check it out when you get a chance. But you'll see that some of these tabs over here are grayed out, like accounts, send, receive, buy, swap, and that's because we don't currently have any accounts in Ledger Live. We don't have any funds to do anything with, so we can't really access these accounts. So let's do that. So the first step would be to go to the My Ledger tab. And then choose an account, choose a Nano app that you want. So let's say you hold Bitcoin and Ethereum on your exchange account and you're hoping to withdraw from the exchange to your cold storage device. You'll first have to install the Nano apps. And so what the Nano apps do is they give your device the software that it needs to communicate with this individual blockchain So you already have your recovery phrase. You're already able to derive that recovery phrase can be used to derive account addresses for any blockchain. However, the specific derivation path and the specific method that is used to derive accounts using that information for each blockchain is going to be a little bit different. Depending on that blockchain, which is why we have the nano apps. These nano apps let your nano communicate with these blockchains to sign transactions, derive accounts, to do all the different functions that need to be done to fully interact with those blockchains. So let's go ahead and do, we'll do Bitcoin and Ethereum. And it's going to install both of those. You'll see there's a loading bar right here on the nano of it installing. And it'll do one at a time. Okay, now we got a couple nano apps installed. So now we can click on, so you see this just popped up here, this new button, add account. So from here we can add an account. Let's add an Ethereum account. And so we have to open up the Ethereum app so that it's active, so that the device can use it. And that can only happen with your permission. We open up the Ethereum app. And right now it's deriving our account addresses. And then it's happening inside the nano, and the nano is going to share the public wallet address with Ledger Live. So here is the very first public wallet address that can be derived from this new recovery phrase. We'll call it Ethereum 1. That's fine. I'll go ahead and add it in. Click done. So now all these tabs here are now ungrayed out because we now have a crypto account. But you can see here it's definitely 0. There's no crypto in this account. However, we can deposit crypto into this account. We can open it up and we can go to receive, and then we can click continue. And then we can verify the address. So this is the public wallet address right here. It's also the receive address. So your public wallet address is read and receive only, meaning that if anyone that gets their hands on this address, they would be able to take it, go to Etherscan or go to any Ethereum block explorer and search for it, and they'll be able to see everything inside the account. And they'll be able to know what this account holds because it's all public information. It's a public block explorer. However, there's no possible way for that person to attach this wallet address with your identity. Because if you notice, we just went through the entire setup for Ledger Live. We generated a recovery phrase. We installed the Nano app. We created a Ethereum account, and now we're able to receive funds. But at no point did this ever ask for our email address, our name, our address, our location, nothing. It didn't. You don't need any of that. You don't need any personal identification in order to create secure cold storage accounts through Ledger Live. Which is why I was able to, if you remember from the beginning of the video, I had some accounts in there and I just willy-nilly erased them from Ledger Live because I know that my accounts do not actually exist in Ledger Live. Ledger Live is just a convenient window into the blockchain that's showing me the assets that are in my accounts. And those accounts exist only on the blockchain, and those accounts are derived from the recovery phrase in your Nano. So what's really crazy is technically the only thing that's actually stored in your Nano is the recovery phrase. It stores of course, the firmware, the operating system for the device, which lets the device work. It stores your recovery phrase, which it uses to derive all of your account addresses. And it also stores the Nano apps, which is the information to derive those addresses from each blockchain. And which is why I'm going to do a demonstration here in a minute. Let's go ahead and approve this. So you saw me erase all of those accounts that I had in here from Ledger Live. Let's go ahead and break this connection now. This is the device that we just set up. I'm going to set it down right here. And let me go ahead and open up my little Nano case that I got right here. By the way, I have a sweet Nano case that I recently got. And then I'm going to plug this in right here. Because I use so many Nanos now, they were kind of falling all over the place. I had to get a case. So you see here, I plugged this one in, and it's asking me for my PIN. So this is the nano that that all those accounts were tied to. So I'm going to go ahead and pull it away, and I'm going to enter my PIN. I dare you to try counting my button presses. Just kidding. If you're watching the video, you know what I'm talking about. If you're watching along from the beginning. Okay, cool. So now I'm going to, you see I have a whole bunch of nano apps installed on this nano. I think I have like 30 something of them. So I'm going to find Ethereum. I'm going to open that up. I'm going to come back into here and I'm going to add an Ethereum account from this nano. Let's see what happens. Okay. So you'll see a couple interesting things here. So you'll see it detected my Ethereum, my main Ethereum account from this nano. We're gonna rename this ETH dash. We'll call it work. Doesn't really matter. It's arbitrary. This name that we're assigning this account right now will only exist in Ledger Live and only as a visual cue to help me differentiate my different accounts. If I were to reset Ledger Live like I did in the beginning of this video, this information is all gone and it'll just default back to Ethereum 1. Because honestly, Ledger Live doesn't really care what you call your accounts. The blockchain doesn't really care what you call your accounts. All the blockchain cares about is the wallet address and what exists inside the wallet. And as you can see here, this wallet address derived from this recovery phrase on this nano contains 0.0375811 ETH. And it also contains these 4 tokens that exist on ETH. So it can detect all that. So my nano derived this internally, shared the public wallet address of Ledger Live. Ledger Live then uses its API to contact the Ethereum Block Explorer and say, hey, what exists inside this Ethereum account? Oh, okay, great. And then now Ledger Live is able to display that for me. So that's why you can add, remove your accounts. As long as your recovery phrase stays the same in your device and you don't change your recovery phrase, you'll always be able to add your accounts in whenever you want. And you can actually add your accounts into other places as well. Let's go ahead and add this Ethereum account here. And then let's do a real quick further demonstration just to kind of hammer home what I mean. Let's drag this over. Let's open up MetaMask real quick. I'm going to go here. This is that exact same account in MetaMask. I'm going to go ahead and just delete it. And then I'm going to go through here, connect hardware wallet, Ledger, connect, Nano S Plus, connect. Already have the Ethereum app opened up right here, connecting. And you can see right here, it's detecting the exact same thing. Because the process that I went through for Ledger Live to import my account to Ledger Live is the exact same process that you would go through to import your account into any wallet. And so now I can import my ETH account if I would like to into MetaMask. And then now I can use MetaMask. And you can see it detects my same tokens right here that are inside Ledger Live. I go to Ledger Live, I show my tokens right there, Matic, Link, and then these 2 empty accounts that it just shows up because I previously did have funds in these accounts, but I've since removed them. So yeah, and then also I can go through the same thing. You might notice that I had a Bitcoin account tied to this nano. Same thing. Now it's going to want us to open up the Bitcoin app. So yeah, okay, let's open up the Bitcoin app. Let's let Ledger Live and my nano derive my Bitcoin address from the recovery phrase in here. Synchronizing. Sometimes Bitcoin takes a little bit longer, not always. And then there it is, 0.001 BTC. And then we'll call this BTC-work, my work account. So now here's another interesting thing. I kind of glossed over this when I was adding the ETH account because I was kind of talking about some other things. But this is a really cool thing right here. So you see that I don't know if you remember, but when I added the original ETH account from this nano, it only let me have one option. It was like, okay, Ethereum 1, that's the only account you can add in. But however, here you'll see that it's giving me 2 options, and one's funded, this one's not funded. The reason that is because technically you can derive an unlimited amount of different wallet addresses for every recovery phrase. So I can have like 1,000 different Bitcoin accounts in Ledger Live, all tied to the exact same recovery phrase. I don't have to do anything different with my nano. I don't have to get a second nano. I don't have to get another recovery phrase. I don't have to do anything. I can just keep making Bitcoin or ETH or whatever accounts, any blockchain, using your nano. And the reason that Ledger Live, but to make things easier, Ledger Live, and to avoid like unnecessary confusion, Ledger Live only lets users add the first account, and then you can only add the second account after that first account's funded. And then after you fund that second account, you'll then be allowed to add your third account, and so on and so forth. So you actually have to fund each individual account before you can get to the one you want. And that's so that, to avoid a situation where someone's like, oh, I want to be extra secure and I'm going to scroll all the way. I'm going to keep going next page, and I'm going to add in the 500th Bitcoin account that can be derived from my recovery phrase. Mwahaha, I'm super secure. And yeah, that actually is very secure, but you actually have to remember that you went through and added the 500th account. And if you ever do forget which one you add, it can be very difficult to recover your funds to determine which account it was. So this just keeps things easier, keeps things straight in Ledger Live for people. So let's go ahead and add that back in. So yeah, so I can keep going through and I can just keep adding all my same accounts that you saw before with accounts that are tied to this Nano. I can go here, I can click on this little wrench icon, I can remove it from the portfolio, I can add it back in. Ledger Live is very dynamic. It can get reset. The main takeaway for your accounts and everything is and how it works, and this is why I always go on these spiels every week about recovery phrases, is because your recovery phrase truly is the master key to all your crypto accounts. If you saw my demonstration just now, you'll probably really understand that a lot more. One of the common questions we get from people, as part of troubleshooting, like for instance, sometimes Bitcoin, for instance, gets a little like stuck, a little hung up because it has synchronization errors. A lot of blockchains do, and the more accounts you have in Ledger Live, the more common synchronization errors are gonna be. It's because Ledger Live needs to go when it resyncs and pulls in your and updates your data from the blockchain. It has to go through and resync with each one of your accounts one by one to do that. And sometimes it'll time out if you have a lot of accounts. Sometimes if your internet connection is not super great, it'll time out, or the connection will be spotty and you'll get like a red X, and maybe your balance will be showing wrong slightly. These things are generally not to be of concern, unless like you see like outgoing transactions, like unauthorized actual activity from your account. But if you're like looking at your account and you're like, that's weird, like my Bitcoin account is showing like slightly less Bitcoin. Like I know I made a deposit of Bitcoin yesterday because I buy Bitcoin every week or whatever. But it's not showing my deposit, but it was showing yesterday, and I know that I made it. You probably just have to like clear your cache, which you can clear your cache by going up here to the settings, the little gear icon up here, and then you go to help, and then you see this clear cache option, and right here you hit clear. So clear the Ledger Live cache to force resynchronization with the blockchain, and that's exactly what it does. It will go in and force your accounts to resync with the blockchain. And honestly, like 90 to 95% of the time, this is going to fix any synchronization error you're having. So first things first, go over here, clear, confirm, let Ledger Live kind of reset, resynchronize, and it should work. But in some cases, part of troubleshooting is like, okay, we'll just completely remove your account and then re-add it back in. Like something's hung up, something's not right, your account's glitching out, Ledger Live's glitching out. Just completely get rid of it and then use your Nano to add it back in. And so some users who aren't super familiar with how this technology works are like, well, wait a minute, you want me to delete my account from Ledger Live? Like you're asking me to delete my crypto? And honestly, on the surface, that's what it looks like. And there's like, why wouldn't someone think that? But after doing a little bit more digging, a little bit more research, watching videos like this, it helps to kind of understand like what's actually happening behind the scenes, and that gives you a lot of power because it lets you troubleshoot things on your own, and it gives more peace of mind whenever you have like weird issues that you're not sure what to do or whatever. So that's why I like doing these extra demonstrations during these onboardings to kind of like show what's possible with Ledger. Not only how to keep your assets safe and how to stay protected in this space, but also kind of how to do some stuff and what's possible. So yeah, I think I talked for a long time, quite a bit of talking, but I hope that I gave you guys some good information. I'm just going to scroll through the comments right here. Ty's been all over it. Yeah, thank you so much, Ty, for doing that. Yeah, it looks like some people have some issues, and Ty's been all over it. Let me scroll to the bottom. Yeah, cool, sweet. It looks like Ty pretty much answered all your guys' questions. Let me let me show you one more thing. I'm gonna go here to back to the Discover tab. I've been showing this, and the reason that I'm showing this again, if you're in my live stream on Wednesday, I showed it off then. I showed it off in the last onboarding last Friday. It's because this is actually becoming like the #1 help center article that I send people. So one other thing about Ledger Live, let me go through. Let me add my Ethereum account back in real quick so I can kind of show you what's going on here. Ethereum. Okay, we'll open up the Ethereum app. Oop. Open the Ethereum app for real this time. All right, we got our ETH account. And once again, you see the second ETH account right there that I can add in because this one is funded. I'm not going to. I have no need for this second ETH account. So I'm gonna go ahead and add that in. All right, so check it out. So on Ethereum and Binance Smart Chain, even like Solana, although Solana tokens aren't supported in Ledger Live yet, and they're not supported by what I'm about to show you. But for EVM, Ethereum Virtual Machine, so like other Ethereum and blockchains that are based off of Ethereum, we have this really cool app. So first off, they can accept tokens. So like if you have Chainlink, if you have Tether or any token that exists on the Ethereum network, you can send that directly to your Ethereum wallet address, and it's going to show up just like this as a token account. You don't have to create an account for it. You don't have to do anything. You just generate your receive address for ETH. You send your ERC20 token to your ETH address, and it's going to show up in your account automatically, just like this. However, so since you've been watching from the beginning, you know that all crypto only exists on the blockchain. It's not actually in Ledger Live. So since Ledger Live is just a good window that views into the blockchain, it requires constant updating and expanding in order to view all assets that can exist on a blockchain, if that makes sense. And so let me give you an example. So a really good recent example is Pepe, the Pepe token, the meme coin that came out, and everyone was super excited about it, and it was this brand new token, this new meme coin that had a really cool picture, and it really resonated with the crypto space or whatever, because Pepe is a popular meme in crypto. But it was brand new. We did not have, Ledger Live wasn't able to see the Pepe token because it hadn't been built into the functionality of Ledger Live. Ledger Live didn't recognize that contract address. And so it straight up didn't see that token in users' accounts. So people would reach out to us and be like, hey, I sent my Pepe to Ledger Live and it's not showing in my account, but I know it's in my account because I verified it on the Block Explorer. And it's like, okay, well, let's see. Like, oh, you're right. It is in your account. So the only issue there is that Ledger Live is not able to see that token. And this is common, very common, not just in ETH, but Binance Smart Chain, Kronos, Avalanche, all these different other EVM chains that can also have tokens. Like, and if the token and Polygon, if the token is supported in Ledger Live, then it will show, but it may not be supported. And so if that ever does happen for EVM chains, go here to the Discover tab and then scroll down to Zerion, which is, looks like oh, there it is. And then go to the Zerion. It's this one right here with the blue and white triangle logo. And so this will automatically detect any asset on EVM chains. You can see that right here, here's all my assets tied to this wallet address across all EVM chains. It's detecting my Polygon, which I don't even have my Polygon account added into Ledger Live. It's detecting my ETH on Arbitrum, which I don't even have an Arbitrum account added in Ledger Live, but it's still detecting it. And so if I had a token that Ledger Live didn't support, this is a third-party app that exists outside of Ledger Live that uses its own APIs to pull in data. And so it's and it's very expansive. Like I've been shocked at some of the tokens that this thing recognizes. So if you ever do send a more obscure or a lower cap token that hasn't gained support in Ledger Live yet to your ETH account, come here to the Zerion app and see if it sees it. And if it sees it, then you can send it and you can manage it right here, right from here, right from this app, which is really cool. It gives like it just gives a lot more functionality. Because whereas before, if an individual token wasn't supported in Ledger Live, then our go-to would be to have users connect to MetaMask, import their ETH account, which I went through those steps a minute ago. But then you also have to import that custom token into MetaMask, and it's kind of a technical process. So this makes things a lot easier. So yeah, let's see. What's the URL for that app? So there's no URL. Let me make sure you're talking to me, and you're not talking to Ty. Sometimes I'm really just kind of talking to myself up here. For Ledger, technically movement of your account, notify you immediately. Yeah, that may be a thing in the future. Mecca 360. Hopefully, it certainly will become a thing when account abstraction becomes more of a thing, and wallets move more towards like a smart contract based wallet situation where you can set up all kinds of rules and stuff. We're not quite there. I don't know if or when Ledger Live is going to get there, but I expect that in the future, this will become things like this will become just much more common. Keep in mind, the crypto space is very immature right now. It's very new, very bare bones. So really, just all like there's limitless possibilities, but they all have to be built before they become a reality. And so, and we're all just kind of here very early in this space and seeing what develops. Okay, cool. Yeah, Mecca 360, sweet. All right, so there's no URL for it. Actually, there actually may be outside of Ledger Live, but to access it from Ledger Live, open up Ledger Live, go to the Discover tab right here, and then scroll down, and it's one of these apps here, right here. This guy right here is Zerion. It's blue with the white triangles. And then this is just a smart way to manage your DeFi portfolio, like it says right there. So you'd click on it, and then it's letting you know you're going to an external application. No big deal. Hit continue, and then you're in right from Ledger Live. And as long as your account is in Ledger Live, at least one of your accounts, like your Ethereum or Polygon, it's going to detect across all chains, like I just showed. So yeah, definitely check that out. Oh, are you on iOS? Oh, I see. Oh, shoot. My sincere apologies. I was on the wrong screen. Okay. Yeah, Ty just popped in and let me know that I was being an idiot up here. So let me go back. All right. So we go to the Discover tab, and then right here in Ledger Live, scroll down, and Zerion's right here, and then you can get to it. Yeah, my apologies for that. I thought I was on the right screen. Having a little bit of technical difficulties today. All right, cool, sweet. So then, yeah, here's all your assets across EVM chains right here, all of mine anyway, on my work account. Oh, look, it even detects. This is crazy. I didn't even know about this. I even have a little bit of Polygon staked through the Polygon staking platform, which is not supported in Ledger Live, and it detects it. And look, I even have some rewards now on Polygon. Zerion, I like it more every time I use it. All right, cool. Let me go back here to the main shot. So yeah, I think that we are pretty much, no worries, Mecca, you're welcome. Yeah, so I think that pretty much covers our live stream for today. Ty's been all over answering your guys' questions. So starting Monday, as in, I'm not sure actually. Don't quote me on that. Monday may be also a holiday. It's Juneteenth, and it's an observed holiday for the U.S., so the U.S. team won't be working on Monday. And I believe that the same is true for the EU team. So there may not be a live stream on Monday. I have to get more clarification on that from my team lead. However, if there is not, then you can catch us next Wednesday, and we'll be doing our Ask Me Anything and just live support. Where myself or possibly Ty or another member of the team will be answering your questions directly on camera, and we'll be able to show you more stuff. They're very fun sessions, so definitely come to there. If you have more in-depth questions you'd like to ask, like I mentioned a lot of like things in this live stream, like connecting to the Polygon staking platform and staking through that, and connecting to MetaMask, and connecting to dApps across Web3, things like that are kind of technical and confusing. We love showing off stuff like that. So please come if you have anything you're trying to do specifically with your Nano that you're having trouble doing. It's a good opportunity for us to actually live show you how you can go about doing that. So bring your questions next Wednesday, and we'll be more than happy to help you out with that. And also next Friday will be our next live onboarding, what we did today. Oh, thanks, Mecca. I appreciate that, man. So show up and learn how to get your device set up, get your questions answered, and it's been a lot of fun. I hope you guys all have a fantastic weekend, and stay safe. Keep those recovery phrases locked up. All right, everybody. Have a good one.